All right, so now we're back, and now we've let our monster bodies sit for a day, and now we're going to start adding some features. So it's just a little bit, it's still a little squishy. Obviously I can move it, but it's not as flimsy as it was before. So this will be a good time to get some of these things out, I think. Okay. So first thing we're going to start with is I like to start with the eyes. And anytime, remember my little hunk of clay I got here, so I'm just going to take that out. So anytime we join two pieces of clay together, you have to slip and score. So I'm going to show you guys just a basic little eye. Let's go like half of that. And I'm just going to roll a ball for an eyeball. Pretty basic. So if I want to attach my eyeball to the side of my pot, like if I do that, it's going to stick, right? It's clay, it's sticky. But in order for it to stick there forever and last after firing, you have to slip and score it. So I have some water here. So I have some trusty water. And I've just got this old fork that I'm going to use to score it up. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my monster and I'm going to decide where I want the face to be. And I've kind of decided that this is a little bit higher than the rest of the pot. Like, it's hard to really tell, but this is stands a little bit higher, so I angled it to go that way. So I'm going to put the eyes right here and here. So where I'm going to put the eyes, I'm going to grab a little water and get it wet there. Then I'm going to take my fork and I'm just going to score it up. Make sure it's nice and goopy. If I need to add a little bit more water, I can add a little bit more water. Oops, you can't see that. So I'm going to score it up. So I'm going to go in a couple directions. I'm going to go one way and then the other way. And it doesn't really matter if it's like, you know, full on hashtags, but you just want it to get nice and goopy. Like all this material here, this is what we call slip. It's just watered down clay. I keep going off screen here. Let's see about this. Oops. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. All right, so let's try this. Okay, and so then I have my little eyeball, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get it wet right here, and I'm just going to score it up. Just in a couple different directions. I want it to get all nice and goopy. This is a very technical term, goopy. And then I'm going to take the two pieces, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle them together. Wiggled together. Now you can see I have all this extra slip area. Now this would be a good time to have a paintbrush, but I didn't grab a paintbrush with my kit here. That would have been a good thing to put in your guys' kit, little paintbrushes. So I'm just going to use our little wood tool, and I'm just going to kind of scrape and clean up the edges, and I'm just going to take it off on my skin here. I'm just going to go around and just taking the edge of the little tool and just kind of cleaning it up. So you don't have to use a paintbrush, would work too to help get all the little watery slip, but this works just fine. And then you can kind of roll it. See how I'm rolling it? And that'll help get kind of a good seal in the groove. Okay, so we can come back and kind of clean up some more of that in a little bit. I also have a little sponge here. This is one of my old sponges from the sink. So if you have an old sponge, you could take some scissors. Do I have scissors out here? I have a knife tool. I've got a little knife tool here, so I'm going to just take off a little corner of my sponge because it's garbage anyway. So I took off a little corner of my sponge just to make a little triangle, and then I can take this and I can kind of go around the edges too and kind of really smooth it out. This actually works really nice. Actually, I like that a lot to help smooth out the little edges. Okay, so there could be an eyeball just like so, and we could just leave it at that if we wanted to. Or we could take our little tool here and we could poke a little hole and say it's an eyeball. Pretty basic. We can also add eyelids. But remember, anytime you are taking two pieces of clay, so I rolled a little coil here. I'm just going to make a little eyelid for you guys. Remember, anytime you are adding two pieces of clay or joining them together, you need to slip and score. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to make a little eyelid here. You guys can kind of see how that's going to shape out a little bit there as a little eyelid. but I've got to slip and score that. Now it's a little bit sticky because I got it wet already, but I'm going to take a little water and add more water to that. I'm going to add a little water to the bottom of this, and then I'm going to take my fork and I'm going to score that up. So I'm not really moving in two directions, but I'm kind of like scraping it across there. The main thing is we want to rough it up. We want to rough up where we want to attach them and create some slip. Keep going off screen here. See if I can do this better here. Okay. And then I'm going to take these two pieces. Ooh, slippery little suckers. And we're going to add them together to create a little eyelid. Now you don't want this little dry clay that I've got kind of going on here. You don't want that on your project. So I'm just going to add that on there. And then I'm just going to blend it in. So I can just take my thumbnail or my fingernail and just kind of blend it. And you can leave whatever you want unblended, I suppose. However you want it to look. But I'm just taking the back of my nail and just blending it in because I want it to be kind of one continuous look here. And then I'm just taking my finger and just smudging it. Smudging it all together, making it look nice and smooth right now. And then you can see I left like a little something there. I don't know what that was. But I can fix this. So I could either leave these little droopy lines here, or I can just kind of blend them in all together. I'm kind of just blending them. And then if I wanted to, I could just leave it like that. I could create more of a like an eye form here and kind of just shape it down. So you can really do whatever you want with your eyes. So there's a little eyelid. You can make it a little bit more shut by pushing it down. There is an eyelid. Okay, so I just made a little coil for that, for an eyelid. You could also make an eye socket by taking a ball of clay, making it into a ball here. And you could take that, and you could take our stick, poke it inside, and really give it a good twist to open that hole. And then you could add another little ball of clay. I'm just rolling this in the palm of my hand. And again, got to slip and score. So this, my fork isn't going to fit in the center of this. So I can just use my little wood tool and just do some quick scoring here. You could also use your toothpicks. So it'll be even finer of a score. And I already got that wet, so you can just kind of give it a little score. And then you're going to take and smoosh them together. And it creates kind of a rough eye socket kind of look. And you could either clean up some of those little boogers, I call them boogers, or you can leave them to create more dramatic effect. Whatever you want to do with your eyeball. And then you could again poke a hole there, or you could take like I said, I'm in the garage, so I could take like my, where's this at in my screen? I don't see it. Oh, there it is. You could take a drill bit and make a little drill bit hole. You could take a pen. I love clicky pens. They make my favorite. And you could do a little clicky pen. It's going to stick there. There we go. Oh, it took out the little center, but usually it puts a little center in it. But that's okay. So then, again, if I'm going to slip and score this to this piece, I'm going to add a little water to the back of my eyeball. Now you want to be a little gentle with this because it's now a little wet on the front side too. And then I'm going to take this guy and add a little moisture there. And your eyeballs don't necessarily have to match. Maybe you have like one that's popping out of the socket. Maybe one that's got an eye closed. Maybe your monster's winking. And you have to be gentle with how you squish that on there. You might have to let it sit and dry a minute. Because now I'm kind of smooshing my eye socket there. But now I have two different style eyes. I think I might make this just a little bit more indented. So it's kind of got a twofer. And then again, I can take this tool and just kind of clean up these edges. And like I said in the presentation video, you guys could have 8 eyes, you guys could have 2 eyes, you could have one big eye. Whatever you want is how you can make your eyes. Once I've got my eyes on there, I usually start then with my mouth. I'm not really sure exactly why. I think, I don't know. I just like to go with the mouth next. But depending on where I put the mouth, sometimes I don't have room for an actual nose, like to add a nose. So sometimes you want to think about ways that you could add a nose without maybe adding clay. So you could take, gosh, I'm trying to think what I have in the garage here that would work. You could take like a side of a knife, or you could take, let's I guess focus on our mouth, and then we'll get back to the nose, I guess. Okay, so for a mouth, you can do a couple different things. I usually just go with coils, but you could even just do as simple as like I just literally ripped this little hunk of clay off the edge here, and you could go with that as a mouth. See how that would create like a little like lower lip off of there? So that would work. You could do something as simple as that. You could, I really actually do like that. You could roll some coils. Maybe it's got a little coil mouth. So you have like one coil, and then maybe for an upper lip, maybe mine's got a thinner upper lip. And you could take that coil and a lot of lips, and just taking the moisture off of that. You can do like one indent at the top, and then you do like, see if I can do this here, 2 indents on the bottom. And that creates kind of that little kiss of a lip on the top. It's hard to work this small, guys. I'm not gonna lie. So, so there could be a lip right there, which is also super cute little lips. So maybe there's your monster's lips. I had like a side smile going on. So something like that. Okay, and that was pretty basic, right? Now I'd have to slip and score these 2 pieces onto here. I don't necessarily have to slip and score them together because they're both going to go on here. So I would just want to make sure that I slip and score the back really good, and then slip and score them here really good. So I could do something like that. I could make teeth onto this. Like if I wanted to do teeth, maybe I just have a lower lip, and then maybe these turn into teeth. And again, I'd have to slip and score these all on there. So I could either put them on, let's see, my lip goes this way. I could either put them on this way for the teeth sticking up, or I could make them more like little teeth that are exposed that way. And then I could just slip and score them on there like this. Little tooth. Okay, so lots of different things you could do with your monster mouth. I kind of really like that little idea of just pulling off a hunk of clay here. So I'm going to go back to that and add a little mouth that way. Just kind of a crazy little mouth. Okay, so now I got to add some water. Slip and score. Like I said, guys, there's no real wrong way. Oops, I need to slip and score that too. There's no real wrong way to add a mouth. It's however you want your monster's mouth to be. So maybe you decide that you want this upper area to be the mouth. Like you could have it sit this way, and maybe your eyes still come off here, and maybe it's just kind of bent down a little bit more, and there's your mouth. You see how I just adjusted that a little bit, and then these become the eyes up here. Like this one doesn't really work very well, but this one would really good. And then that creates this mouth here that you could add teeth to here, and then you could add little legs down here when we get to that. So lots of different things that you could do with your monster and its mouth. So I'm just going to add this on there. Kind of almost looks like just like a little tongue sticking out. I like it. I'm going to make it kind of just like, give it a little edge to it. Okay. So now I have this area for a nose. So mine does have room for a nose, but let's see if I could find something really quick to make a nose. Okay. That is not at all what I was hoping for. Okay, so I found a screwdriver. I'm in the garage. So you could make a little nose with just a screwdriver. You could kind of go in at an angle and go, boom, there's a nose. It just kind of comes out just a little bit from the surface, but it's a nose, right? And it's kind of, I didn't add any clay. I just implied that there's a nose there. You could go even further and you could make like little nostrils coming in there. so it looks more like a